but crypto is going to play a big role. The digitization of currency, digitization of everything we're doing. I'm a big believer in this. Is one thing that will change Bloomberg even. I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks.
It's coming.
And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization.
So here we have Larry Fink, who is, of course, BlackRock's CEO, openly shilling for RWA, real-world assets. And undoubtedly, two leaders of the RWA sector in crypto in terms of projects are number one, Ondo, and number two, Mantra. You may reverse that order if you want, but those are the big two, no question there. One is up over 34,000% in the last year and 4 months, and the other is up 1,600% in about a year. And if we are to believe VanEck's RWA report, then this is shaping up to be a $50 billion sector this year in 25, and it's projected to swell 50 times by 2030 in just 5 years. So does that mean Ondo and Mantra or both are also going to do a 50x? We're going to discuss what we feel their potentials are in terms of upward price trajectory. And we'll also kind of crown the winner between these two in terms of the hottest RWA crypto project in the sector. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck, okay, if you choose to invest RWA or otherwise. I wish you very, very well. Just remember that I'm not a financial or investment advisor, which means by extension that this video is not official financial or investment advice. So let's talk about RWAs from a broader perspective for just a moment. Earlier, you heard Larry Fink mention tokenization. That's kind of what it's all about. That more or less sums it up. RWA, again, real world assets, is a space all about tokenization. And this can be pretty much anything. So you can think of real estate, precious metals, bonds, treasuries, all of this kind of stuff, although it hasn't been done traditionally, can be tokenized, which means digitizing the RWA, right? You turn it into an NFT. And what makes an RWA interesting is the fact that you can also fractionalize these assets. Let's take real estate, for example. Most of us cannot afford more expensive real estate at the current prices, at least not in one lump sum. But if you use this new model, when you fractionalize the tokenized real estate, now it becomes much more affordable to many people, to people of more modest means. And so, of course, the consequence is that you don't own the entirety of the real estate, but you own fractions of it in a way that wasn't previously possible. Both Mantra and Ondo Finance cater mostly to institutions. However, both also have options for retail. You can also buy or trade in their respective tokens, of course. The tokens are Mantra's OM and Ondo's ONDO token. And these two are available pretty much at most of the major exchanges out there. And of course, anyone can buy them, not only institutions. Let's start with Mantra here. OM is the ticker. This is currently the leading RWA project in terms of charts as measured by market cap. At least if you exclude Chainlink, which is sort of shoehorned into this category. But the thing about Mantra is that their mainnet didn't launch until October 2024, just a few months ago, believe it or not. This integrates RWAs into the blockchain. But before the mainnet, there was an incentivized testnet. This was the Hong Bai testnet. And unfortunately, many testnet users are kind of disappointed about the delay of the airdrop. That's because Mantra had a $50 million airdrop on the table, but it changed the vesting a few times, actually, and now tokens are locked until September 2025. Airdrop releases are continuing until March of 2027. But in terms of what Mantra offers, there are some things that stand out. Mantra advertises itself as a permissionless chain for permissioned applications. That means that permissionless, at least, means that anybody can use it, and it has all the advantages that a blockchain would normally offer. So, for instance, there is no single entity that controls it, and of course, it's anonymous. But then, on the other hand, Mantra is also compliant, like almost all other RWA projects. And this just means that a KYC or KYB, KYB, by the way, is Know Your Business. It means that those steps, those measures are mandatory. So, in other words, it goes the anonymous part here. However, now you can also trade in regulated assets or products. That's the trade-off. And so when you say mantra, you are also saying, or at least implying, DeFi, because it connects TradFi with DeFi. Actually, that's the added advantage. Traditional banking systems can now interact with crypto and fiat, both on-chain and off-chain. A few months ago, we did this deep dive into Mantra. I covered this project in a lot of very granular detail. If you want to find out more about the project and check out this video if you haven't already, I will include that link in the description below. The current price of the OM token sits right now at $6.01. It's not that far off from its all-time high. That was $6.41 just a few days ago, actually. The market cap right now, this live view sits at $5.8 billion. Now, OM does have an unlimited token supply, so just be aware of that. Out of the 1.8 billion total supply, we have 971 million in circulation. This is a project, again, with that growth, which is already expected to be 50x within the next few years. This is a project that could match that 50x, just as a function really of that rapidly, exponentially expanding RWA growth in that marketplace. All right, so that's Mantra. What now is Ondo Finance, and its ticker ONDO? Ondo Finance just announced Wall Street 2.0 a few days ago. This was during their Ondo Summit in New York City. During the summit, Ondo also announced their very own Layer 1 chain. And as a last-minute surprise guest, they also featured Donald Trump Jr., who was an added speaker at the event. And look, while we're on the subject of the Trump family, whether you love them or you hate them, we have to consider their DeFi platform, that is World Liberty Financial. That's a project that bought an additional $4.7 million worth of ONDO, bringing their total Ondo investment to $5 million. And then furthermore, a Binance listing is something that many are saying is going to be imminent. Surprisingly, ONDO is not yet listed on Binance. So that would be a very welcome addition to that ecosystem, to that platform. And as with any project, a Binance listing certainly represents a very nice boost in terms of not only popularity and kind of acclaim, public spotlight, but also almost inevitably the price of the token. And so it should probably come as no surprise that the Ondo token is doing pretty well. A week ago, it was still at $1.30. Today, it briefly touched $1.41, sitting right now at $1.39. That's up over 4% on the day. We have a market cap here of $4.46 billion. And in contrast to ONDO, I'm happy to report this, has a fixed supply of 10 billion tokens. So from that aspect alone, better tokenomics. We have currently 3.1 billion of those tokens, which are in circulation. Now, that's a relatively low percentage, right? 31%, 3.1 out of 10 billion. But again, that fixed supply is pretty important in the long run. Ondo does things a little bit differently with their token vesting and unlocks as well. Recently, the project unlocked 1.94 billion tokens. That was worth $2.4 billion. However, the expected token price drop that we always see with those kinds of unlocks typically didn't happen in this case. We saw a momentary drop from $1.38 all the way down to $1.20, but it shot immediately back up more or less, all the way up to $1.53, meaning that holders seem to believe in this project and even when faced with an unlock event, didn't really sell their tokens. I already talked about Larry Fink and BlackRock, and Ondo Finance works together with them and with the BUIDL fund, that's BUIDL. Institutional investment is a minimum of $5 million. So this is kind of a playground for the big boys. The hack, however, the workaround is that with Ondo's OUSG stablecoin, that minimum investment turns into only $100,000. So 2% of the initial, I guess, asking entry price, right? And this also offers retail an opportunity to take part. And then furthermore, Ondo introduced their global markets platform, which offers access to tokenized all kinds of things, stocks, bonds, and ETFs, exchange traded funds. Ondo is really on fire right now. They've got a lot of the right kind of support. I think in terms of the medium-term future, you could see this project, Ondo, overtaking Mantra to secure the crypto RWA crown. Similarly, they do have that 50x potential as well over the course of the next 5 years. They're going to grow commensurately, perhaps disproportionately in excess of the market. But if the market grows 50x, I don't see any reason personally why this project can't do the same, can't at least match that growth. So what's the verdict here? Which project do we prefer? Do I prefer? Ondo Finance and its tokenized notes, right? Backed by US treasuries to institutions and retail. or Mantra, which offers admittedly a wider range of tokenized assets? Well, if we look back over the last year, Mantra wins because its OM token saw a 34,439% price increase. Ondo had a great year as well, but it only saw a modest 1,597% price increase. Both of those numbers are pretty impressive, to be honest. One is obviously higher than the other, but both are exceptional. As we saw earlier, Mantra is the current leader, again, at least if you take out Chainlink. However, Ondo has launched a lot of new features, especially during their summit recently. And from my perspective, I can see Ondo taking over that RWA crown pretty soon. Both are going to do exceptionally well, but given all the new energy, given all the new announcements, given that new layer 1 chain, given the partnerships especially, I would have to slightly tilt my preference towards Ondo Finance and the ONDO token. I think both of these projects are going to grow just exponentially in the years ahead as RWA continues to expand. But I'll give that slight nod, that slight tip and personal preference towards Ondo for all the reasons that we've discussed. They just seem to have that momentum right now. And I think they're capable of a lot in the near, medium, even long-term future. Let me know if you agree with that. Join the discussion, as always, on our Discord and X channels. I will include those links in the description below. But let me know your thoughts about the best RWA projects in the comments below.